Okay, so let's get started. So it's Monday, February 8th, 5:50 p.m., almost about time for the daily candle to close. And clearly today's daily candle was epic, right? We hit a low of 38,000 early on in the morning time last night, and then we hit a high of about 46,929. This is probably, if I'm not mistaken, the biggest daily candle percentage wise and dollar wise that BTC has ever had. Currently, we're up almost 18.6% from open till close right now. 9 minutes to go, right? Epic day, all on the back of the news that Tesla has invested about $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. Obviously, they did not pull the trigger and market buy today or yesterday. I'm pretty sure they got into the market maybe a couple weeks ago, maybe several months ago, even. It's very hard to say. But the point is, they're in, right? And that news started to spread in the market, and that caused a massive euphoria to the upside. And that was not isolated only to BTC. Other parts of the market started to cover that movement, and specifically ETH and other altcoins that we're going to cover in the video, they started to gain traction in that movement too. So at present moment, right, we are in a BTC long, not only from the main account, but the 5K account challenge that we have right here. As many of you know, if you're new to our membership, I have this 5K account that I started at the beginning of the year. Currently, it's up about 200%, maybe a little bit higher right now. But so far, the account has done tremendously well. I think it's a huge success in my opinion, not because the account is doing well, but rather because people themselves get to see exactly how I trade the market, how I move in and out of positions, how I structure my positions, size them up properly, move my stops, take profit, et cetera, right? So you're basically getting a peek into the mind of how I would design and utilize my capital in a market like crypto. And that's what our challenge is really about. So anyway, so far so good, right? We took up a couple of positions this morning with ETH and BTC in that 5K account. This is generally, for the new members in our community, this is how I structure my analysis, how I talk about exactly why I'm getting in, where I'm getting in, my stops, target profits, etc. Right? Sometimes if I don't really know where the target profits are going to be, I just write TBD, to be determined, because that just means that the market is moving so fast. Honestly, I can't keep up, right? And it just happens to be that, if the market is moving fast, I'm not going to half-ass and just say, all right, well, let's aim for, this random target, here and there. It just means that it's moving too fast and it could literally just keep going up, another 10, 20% every single day, or it might just, hit a dead stop around some even numbers or some pivots that we're watching, right? So at present moment, I know I had some questions from Advantage members about where exactly BTC could go to. You guys know very well, right? The one big number that I've been talking about is 50K. Whether we hit that in the next couple of days or if it takes, maybe another couple of weeks if we consolidate around here, I still think it's possible because it's a big even number, and market tends to generally gravitate towards big even numbers like that. Okay. Not even numbers, but you guys get what I mean, right? So 50K is my sort of big target in terms of BTC that I'll be aiming for. And we'll see. We'll go from there, right? We'll see what happens at 50K. For all I know, we might go to 54 or 58 or 65K. I don't know. But that's generally an area that I'll be keeping an eye on. Now, as for the weekly pivots that we just started, right? We started a new week yesterday. We're currently at the R2. Probably a little bit of struggle around here, but I would figure that maybe we chop around here, maybe for the next several hours. And then who knows, maybe over the next 24, 48, 72 hours, we make our way towards that 50K target because we're pretty damn close. We already hit 47,000, right? I mean, $3 more thousand is like another, 10-15% move. I think is more than possible, and if that's possible, then we'd probably hit that pretty swiftly to the upside in the next few days. Okay. Now the daily chart, we've clearly excelled past the previous high. This is the kind of breakout candle that you want to see. Why? Because whenever you have a previous high located, right? You do not want to dilly dally around the previous high like this and start, making this kind of, choppy movement. You just want to get it through and just boom, put a big rocket in there. Pretty high volume, as you can see right here. Today's volume was about $4.66 billion. A lot of it was clearly buying, little to no wick to the upside, as you can see. So it seems like sellers were probably exhausted or nowhere to be found, honestly. And so if you're looking at even pivots from the monthly pivot perspective, which is what you're seeing right now, the next R2 pivot is around $48,712. R3 is around 55,000. Okay, so keep those targets in mind. If you do not know how to do technical analysis, the easiest thing that I can recommend to you is use this pivots indicator. It helps you identify support and resistance levels based on their own formula of how they calculate, previous daily candle close versus low versus high, and then dividing that up and creating a nice, structured view like this, where you have R5 to R1 and then S1 to S5. And those are the levels that you can utilize to, buy or sell, whatever. Okay. But however, in markets like this is another thing, right? It's very hard to sort of predict that, something like this Elon Musk news is going to come about. And so at that point, like pivots, indicators, all this stuff doesn't really mean squat. I mean, when, you figure out some big fundamental news, it blows technicals out of the water. And I myself, as a, purely fundamentals trader in crypto, realize it doesn't really mean shit. No matter what indicator I put up, it's going to get blown through. So who cares, right? But what I do care about is when the market is starting to get a little frothy, right? This is where, or whether it's frothy or rangy, whatever, or if it's starting to retrace, this is where technicals once again help you. Technicals may not help you in moments like this, like today, but guess what? On a smaller time frame, it will help you to buy, retracements, say. Like this morning, let me give you the perfect example, right? I think one of our members asked, with this big movement that we had overnight, where was I also thinking about getting in? Well, first thing, I got in around 48,900, or not 48,000, 42,900. I said, okay, I'd like to double down if this thing once again starts to pull back. Okay, sweep these two lows. See these two lows right here? Okay, this was earlier on in the day, and I think I posted this for Advantage members in Bitcoin analysis. Let me see. And so it was right here around 9 a.m., right? So right before that, I stated that on the 15-minute chart, it's most visible that the previous consolidation has left some untouched stops, okay? And a nice retest of 43,000 could clean up those lows. So this was also an area where I stated that I'm going to leave some orders open at 43,000. And I just came back and I saw those get filled, so which was perfect, right? So again, this is where technicals help. If you knew how to go about, marking out levels, figuring out where stops are vulnerable, this is how you get into a position. Aside from things already happening, this is how you get to understand how to play around in the market, get in and out of positions. Okay. So what does this mean going forward? Well, I think obviously a lot of this news is going to start getting priced into the market pretty fast. Just like the whole Michael Saylor stuff did, was it back in like July or August, prices start to skyrocket. And then of course now with the Tesla news of acquiring $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, I'm sure the market is going to start, pricing that in. How high that gets priced in, no one really knows, right? But I do believe that crypto is a cyclical market, meaning as the cycle of Bitcoin tops, as the cycle of, let's just say equities or interest rates all top together, I think Bitcoin and crypto itself will be largely impacted, whether up or down in the same manner. So at present moment, all I can say is, we're probably going to, be in a bullish mode, bullish momentum still to the upside. And I'd be keeping those targets in mind. Like I stated earlier, 50K is my big even number target. 55 is my next. And then after that, we'll kind of see, we'll take it one day at a time. Okay. And of course, Advantage members know I'm in a Bitcoin long. You can look up the details right here. And then of course, on the 5K account, you have all the details available for all my long positions that I've taken. Okay. Other than that, ETH is the other asset that I've been largely paying attention to. Why? Because in my opinion, in terms of beta, which is relative risk, ETH has a higher propensity to run at a higher percentage, both up and down, whenever Bitcoin moves. So let's just say Bitcoin put in a 19% move over the last 24 hours or so, right? Over the last daily candle. Well, I'm expecting relatively the same catch-up game from ETH to start picking up over the next 1, 2, 3 days. Meaning I expect ETH to cover that 20% ground in the same time span coming up. Okay, so whether it's today's candle, the next day, I expect ETH to also put in about 20%, the same move that Bitcoin put in over the last daily candle. Now it's possible that ETH also puts in a higher move. Maybe it goes up 25%, maybe it goes up 35%. But in any case, that's kind of what I'm expecting. And to be honest, I'm fairly confident ETH is capable of doing that. Not because I believe that altcoins are generally going to outperform or anything. I think ETH is probably the more perennial altcoin, if you will, and it's much more desired than other altcoins. One, because it has much more liquidity, meaning it has a pretty sizable market cap, and bigger players in the market, whether it's larger professional traders or hedge funds, can get in and out of the market, especially in ETH, almost as easy as Bitcoin. So I believe that ETH is still probably looking for more upside. A couple of big number targets for ETH. I had the R1 level right here around 1825, and then I think beyond that, I think it's a straight shot towards $2,000. We also just had the Ethereum futures release yesterday evening around 5 p.m. So those are active now. And, so far, I'm not seeing any type of terrible activity. I honestly didn't really think it was going to be, purely bullish or bearish. I just, the only thing that kind of struck me was last time that happened for Bitcoin, that was marking literally the top of the cycle. But obviously, back then in 2017, we were also in a massive bubble and everything was getting, pumped to infinity. At present moment, I do believe that we are also getting, pretty heavy to the upside and getting pumped pretty high, but I don't know about, bubble-like territory yet. I do believe that we're pretty close to achieving it. I think we're getting close to that FOMO frothiness. Like Kraken today had announced that Kraken actually BitMEX, Gemini, and Bitfinex. They all announced that they were seeing record number of accounts being opened up and created, and a lot of people are now on the waiting list. And so them being on the waiting list kind of shows us that the herd, the retail consumer looking to buy crypto, is here. Not only is it here, but they're seeing huge influx of demand. That could mean very, very good things for crypto markets if you're already invested, like we are. Okay, so I'm not really looking to FOMO or double down or 10x or anything. I'm now kind of looking to just ride these waves up to the upside wherever they may take me. Once again, if you're in the market trying to use heavy leverage and trying to get rich quick, chances are you're going to pay the price. Never forget your risk management and position sizing, no matter how high the market goes or how low the market goes. Okay, never forget that. That will be the one thing that will stay constant in your trading and investment career. Okay. So ETH, like I said, I'm looking, for targets to the upside. I'm in long in an ETH position in both my 5K account and my main account. Both are doing tremendously well. I'm pretty happy. We also have the ETH spot positions in both accounts as well. Those are doing tremendously well. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with both ETH and BTC. Now, if we go to, say, the tertiary markets of altcoins, we have some really amazing altcoins that are breaking out or are on their way to breaking out. for example, on the new altcoins front, right, we have Badger. The one position that we took in around $44, $45. This is noted in the, I think, DeFi leverage long section, right? We took this position right here, 44.75. That one is doing tremendously well. We're up pretty much 100% or pretty close to it at least. I'm still expecting upside. I haven't really taken profits here. Just remember that, unless I write down that I've set physical target profits to be taken, or I'm taking profits, when I write down target profits, these are just, general markers that I list out for y'all to pay attention to. If you want to take profits, you can, okay? But that doesn't mean that I'm going to take profits there, right away, okay? Unless I state that I will. In which case I'd write down, I'll say, 25% or 33%, I'll be cutting at, $85 or $100, okay? All right. Let me see here. So let's take some questions real quick. All right. So can you cover algo? Yeah, let's check out algo. Okay. So the other thing that I want to tell y'all folks is in markets like this, okay, you do not really need to be married to a specific coin. I mean, pretty much everything is going up. Like if something is not going up, tremendously well, chances are like, it's either lagging behind or maybe that altcoin is just not going to perform well for a little while. Who knows? It might pick up steam in the next week or 2 weeks or a month, or maybe it just won't. Okay. Like the one coin I strongly dislike that I don't really touch anymore is maybe Atom or Tezos. Why? Because they just don't really perform well, and they haven't been for several weeks or several months. Like this coin right here, Algo, it looks clear to me that this thing is, taken off like a rocket ship, right? So if I'm looking at Algo, okay, it's already hit the even number, of $1. Now I'm looking for these these pivots to the upside. R3 is around $1.15, and then R4 $1.40, and R5 around $1.62. That's all I'm really paying attention to. High volume reaccumulation right here, high volume breakout, and then starting to take off right there. So everything lines up, right? Whether it's volume analysis, the trend analysis that you see, and then the pivots, of course, being broken to the upside, everything looks pretty damn good. There's really no complaints about algo for me. Okay, so all in all, it looks good to me. Other altcoins, right? So let me show y'all Tezos. Okay, here's one reason why I don't touch Tezos. Okay, so you guys just saw algo, right? See, look at Tezos. Hasn't even taken out its previous high in August right here, lagging behind a lot. So here's the thing. Now, either this coin is going to really take off, or it's just going to be, stuck in this range. We don't really know. We don't know because it's possible that there's some significant issues with the project that we may not know about. Maybe some, I don't know, financial issues. Maybe hedge funds and professional traders are not interested in it because they're not seeing the real bid from the other side of the market, which is either institutions or other hedge funds accumulating this asset. And if they're not doing it, then why would other professional traders jump into it, right? So these are the things that you need to pay attention to when looking at crypto markets and specific crypto assets of why is something not moving as well as other assets? Well, it's probably because it either sucks or there's something wrong with it, or maybe, just maybe, it's lagging. But even if it's lagging, it shouldn't be lagging behind this hard because every other project has pretty much broken its previous highs or it's about to, right? Unless it's like relatively new and it's in price discovery mode, it's still going up at a much higher percentage pace than Tezos. Let's check out Link, right? So Link is another asset that I particularly like. I think Link has done tremendously well so far. Retested its previous high as support, and now is starting to make its stride with a running consolidation right here. Personally, I have a Link position. I think it's probably due for more upside, but if you're not willing to sort of ride out this little choppiness, maybe you can enter other positions, right? Again, I can't provide you financial advice. If you have other positions you're looking at, you can mention them to me. But for now, I still think Link will do well. I just don't know when. Okay, but if we're looking for upside targets for Link, I'd probably be looking at even numbers like $30, $35, $40, like that. Or you can follow these pivots. Okay. Let's check out Serum. So this is, of course, Advantage members know that I have a position in this, right? I think Serum is probably due for upside too. Over here, it made a nice 65, 70% movement, running consolidation. I'm looking for this high to be taken out. And then after that, I'm looking for a swift movement towards $5. Solana, Serum, and FTT are all FTX, Alameda Research, Sam Bankman-Fried, who's the CEO of FTX and the CEO of Serum, if I'm not mistaken. I usually follow early projects the same way I follow, say, U.S. equities, which is I follow management in vision and backing, right? Vision obviously comes from Sam Bankman-Fried, incredibly smart guy, has run FTX as an exchange relatively well. FTT, the token, has done incredibly well. Solana, the project, as part of his research backing, has done tremendously well. So I think Serum is another project, which is a DeFi related project, I think will do well. Okay. And I don't think that, Serum is lagging. I think it's done pretty damn well from the beginning of the year so far. It just looks like it's not moving as fast, but it actually has moved quite a bit. Okay. It's only because, it's only $3. That's why it seems like every 10, 20 cents that it moves doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot when in context of just relative dollar terms. Okay. All right, let's check out some questions for Advantage members. Any thoughts on DeFi? Yeah, I mean, DeFi is probably going to be the hottest, performing subsector there is. I've mentioned this before. I mentioned this, a bunch of times. Same thing with NFTs, like Theta, for example, that I consider part of the NFT. I think Theta is going to do incredibly well. The whole idea of digital art, digitization of, what DeFi is kind of aiming towards is going to be very game changing. But I also think there's a lot of sort of BS out there and a lot of hocus pocus. So don't fall into that. Follow some well-reputed projects backed by good, smart people, smart hedge funds, smart research firms, and make sure you actually do the fundamental analysis. Okay. For example, we wrote a article for Advantage members right here on Nexus Mutual, right? It's part of the insurance space within DeFi. Now, why do we talk about this? Well, because I believe that this is probably the next hottest subsector of DeFi. Why do I think that? Well, because I think you're going to need insurance as a way of, putting a backstop on hacks, on, all the issues that you have with total value locked in DeFi and all the collateralization that's happened. You're going to need projects like Nexus Mutual to ensure some of the money and the collateral that's available in the market. Okay. So, make sure y'all read this. Again, it's available in an announcements page. Very good project. We did a lot of research into this, and then Bradley's the one who wrote this up for us. So kudos to him. I think it's a well-written article. All right, what else do we got? Thoughts on DOT? What about LTC? Okay, let's check that out. DOT. Yeah, so, once again, folks, I mean, no matter what project you look like or you look at, very well that all charts, or at least most of them, look pretty damn good. There's very few charts that do not look something like this or do not have sort of a movement that's starting up like this, right? So there's not really a whole lot I can say. I mean, technicals wise, all you need to look for is the market giving you nice, consistent movements up, consolidation, movements up, consolidations, movements up. Okay. As long as you're seeing that, I mean, you're probably going to see your investment appreciate. Okay. But do make sure that, even on the way up, don't get super excited and just don't kind of put yourself in a position where you might just lose it all, because you might just lose it all. Okay. And you do not want to be in that position in a massive, bull market like this. I think you'll do incredibly well if you have DOT, in my opinion. Um, my wife has a DOT position. That one has done tremendously well. We've traded in and out of DOT multiple times. And that's done incredibly well. So all in all, I'm very much looking forward to how altcoins perform, how Bitcoin performs over the next several days, over the next several weeks, even if everything goes well. Okay. Marvin is asking, am I taking profit at 50K? If so, what kind of percentage? I think I might take off at least, 1/3 or 50% of my position at 50K, because it's just such a huge even number. Like, it almost scares me that, if we get to 50K, if I don't take off profit, I'd probably kick myself if we pull back hard. So that's why I don't really want to gamble with it. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking about doing. Okay. Let's see here. All right, I think that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, LTC. Let me do that real quick. Yeah, so we closed off a LTC position. Where was it? Right here. So I need to update this real quick. Right, LTC, I had targets of 150 right here, and then 160 to 65. Obviously, we hit that over the last 24 hours or so. This was just a scalp trade, honestly, that I took. Where was it? February 1st, so about 7 days ago. I was on vacation, obviously, and so that just hit. So I'm going to be closing this out. But at present moment, I think LTC will probably perform well. But if you're looking for altcoins, I'm sure there's probably other altcoins that may do better. I mean, if you really like LTC, I'm sure it'll do as good as ETH, maybe. Maybe it goes back towards like $200 or something. Maybe it even goes back towards its previous highs. But the way I look at it is, LTC is lagging pretty far behind. Like, if you're looking at, say, ETH price structure, the way it is right now, this is the previous high on ETH. Okay, this marker right here. And look where ETH is, right? It's obviously well beyond its previous highs. Now, LTC, well, that one is pretty far off. So that should tell you, like, money flows wise, clearly one is favored over the other. Okay, it's not really rocket science to understand when an asset is going up at a much higher percentage in terms of relative terms, like say BTC to ETH, or ETH compared to LTC, or DOT compared to LTC. That should tell you, like, okay, clearly one asset is favored over the others by traders or investors or even hedge funds. Okay. Silas is asking, does FTX allow you to take off money, or does it lower your entry? Take off money, or does it always lower your entry? I don't know what that means. Sorry about that. Chaos is asking, I know this is a new one, but could you please take a look at BAO? Yeah. I've been looking at BAO because it got listed on FTX. Yeah, I mean, let me see here. It looks like BAO initially just got pummeled, like, as soon as it got listed. But I think, like, this is one of those projects, again, once it starts gaining hype and fervor, people are once again going to be interested in trading the token that has, I don't know, most upside associated with it. Or once this thing starts pushing up, let's just say it gets towards, I don't know, back towards its previous highs over here, people will start talking about it. And once it starts pushing up, 10, 15, 20% daily percentage candles, people will start jumping onto the bandwagon some more. This is how things work, right? Crypto is very reflexive in a sense. When things go up, more people pile in, they drive it up further, and then you have a big flush to the downside. When things are going down, people keep selling and selling, or they don't want to trade it, and you have a big flush to the downside, right? And then you have that, lift off to the upside. once everybody is kind of gone out of the market. It's just how it works. I don't know why, but that's what happens when a market attracts people who are really just invested in wanting to just trade the asset up and down and wanting to make quick money. Okay. All right. What else can I cover? If not, I'll wrap it up. Doge is the next one. Let's do that real quick. So I talked about Doge a couple times while I was on vacation. Like I said, right, previous high is really the marker that you should be paying attention to. Very close to being tagged, but not yet. I believe that marker will probably get hit before anything else, whether it means that, say we do something like this and then pull back some more and then break out, or who knows, maybe we just go up here and then just start dumping. I really don't know. Also, Doge is such a meme coin that I don't even know if anything will stop it. It might just keep going up towards an even target like 10 cents, which is right here around the R1 level, or it might head up towards the R2 around 12 cents. Okay. I really don't know. I mean, I don't really trade Doge. In my opinion, there's better opportunities in the market. But like I said, those would be the markers I'd be paying attention to. And if I was looking for a stop, right? If I was looking for a stop to place in Doge, I'd definitely keep it below these lows. Not investment advice, but that's how I would play it. So let's just say, say I were to enter Doge literally right now. Well, if I were to enter, my stop would be right there. My first target profit would be previous high, which is, a risk reward of 1.0. And then R1, which is 0.10, so 10 cents. That'd be a 3.14 risk reward ratio. That's also pretty good, right? So I'm basically risking $1 just in case I get stopped out down here to make potentially 3. That's not bad, right? I mean, those are pretty good odds. So that's kind of how I would play Doge if I were to enter in a trade. Meme power technology, 100%. I mean, listen, hey, if things are going up and the market deems that it has value, then it has value. But it's not really real value. I'm sure you guys know that, right? Doge literally has zero fundamental value. You're strictly trading it as a meme coin, as the idea of, basically passing on the hot potato, if you will, or what do they call that? I forgot the greater fool theory. That's what it's called, right? So don't get caught being the greater fool. Okay, make sure you pass it on to the bigger, greater fool. Okay. All right, I think that's pretty much it. So at the beginning of the video, I covered Bitcoin, I covered ETH, DOT and Algo, Doge, covered lots of stuff. So make sure you guys watch that. I am back from vacation, so I'll be ready and willing to kick ass in the crypto markets. All right. And again, I wrote a quick update for y'all, for Advantage members, in the Advantage announcements right here. So make sure you check it out. All right. By the way, from the stock market side, I posted about Overstock. That is now up 41%. It has done tremendously well. Again, this is not financial advice, right? This was just a position that I stated I was taking, and I had done my research on it. So I wanted to just share it with you guys. Okay. That's it. Y'all take care, and I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers.